There is one other character that I would like to mention as an integral part of the success of Bonanza, and that was Victor Sen Young. Victor represented a very important part of the configuration of people that made up California at the time of the gold rush. Chinese had been brought into this country prior to the gold rush to work on some of the farms, some of the large farms that were starting to sprout, but not in particularly large numbers. But when the gold rush occurred in 1848, there was a huge immigration of Chinese contract labor into California. But they became a very important part of the, as I say, the population of California, the history of California. When we considered the importance of having Hop Sing, which was the name I gave to the Chinese cook that Victor played. But the thing about Hop Sing, as played by Victor Sen Young, he became so much a part of the family that he was considered. See, there were really 6 members of the family. There were the 4 Cartwrights, there was Hop Sing, and the Ponderosa itself. And we use those 6 because we use, the people like the sheriff, and the doctor, and some wonderful actors. But Victor was in a class by himself, and he was so good and so devoted, and it's such a pleasure to work with. And he had such a following among some of the fans of Bonanza that we decided to give him shows where he was the lead, give him a number of shows. And that was wonderful. But the episode that stands most clearly in my mind is at the very, very beginning, when we did a show about being shanghaied in San Francisco. But the story in San Francisco has to do with the boys wanting to go to see the big city. They're raised on this ranch up in the Sierra Nevada, and they hear all these wonderful tales about San Francisco. They've never been there. So they said they want to do it. And of course, the father is horrified at the thought. He says, it's a terribly dangerous city, the Barbary Coast and all that. And people get shanghaied and they end up in China, no one ever hears from them again. So he warns each of the boys not to go to San Francisco. And they said, well, don't worry, Paul, we can take care of it. Oh, no, you don't know how bad that city is. And because he said, they'll try to do this to you, and they'll try to do that to you, try to do that to you. And they said, well, we know that, and we won't allow that to happen. So off they go, and of course he's worried about them, and of course they're falling for all these tricks and traps, and undoubtedly they're on in the hold of some rusty old ship making its way to China, never to be seen again. So he must go to San Francisco to see how they're doing. And he goes to San Francisco, and Ben Cartwright falls into every one of the traps that he warns his sons not to fall into. Well, it was just great. And at the end, Victor Sen Young calls upon, playing Hop Sing, calls upon his Chinese friends, who were quite a part of the population of the Bay Area at that time, San Francisco, to come and help. And we get a swarm of Chinese extras, and they overwhelm the heavies, and they save the Cartwrights, particularly Ben Cartwright, and they get back home to the Ponderosa. And that was such a delightful script. And I knew then Victor was so wonderful in that part, and played it with such enthusiasm, and gave it his all. He didn't hold back. He gave it everything. And it was really something to behold. And he became, as I say, a 5th character, a 5th member of the family throughout his career. And he stayed with us until the very end, I think.